Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos signed a memorandum last week that would allow guarantee agencies to charge individuals student loan fees equivalent to 16% of their total balance, regardless of whether the debtor agreed to pay off their debt within 60 days. Although this decision will hurt individuals who are financially struggling and are finding it difficult to pay off their loans, it will help the family of Taylor Hansen, a former lobbyist representing for-profit colleges, and also somebody who just recently resigned as Betsy DeVos's chief, one of her top operatives at the Department of Education. The new policy changes add an estimated $15 million to the pocket of guarantee agencies such as Strata Education Network, a corporation owned by the father of Taylor Hansen. Now, DeVos, who has been criticized for lacking experience and being part of a family of the far-right, super-rich political donors, will now face questions about her impartiality, as it seems clear that this policy was enacted to help her own people and not the American people. Yes, indeed, America. Now, this one is what you want to watch here. Now, this is what I like to call a hashtag follow the story. And so if you follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, when I say hashtag follow the story, I mean, there's a larger pieces to this. So yes, Donald Trump wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act. And yes, Neil Gorsuch will likely become the next Supreme Court nominee. Those are facts, right? But that is not the real damage that the Trump administration is going to do. The Trump administration, even though Donald Trump has professed to saying that he wants to drain the swamp, this administration, America, is the swamp. Betsy DeVos is a great example. Not only is she woefully unqualified to be the Secretary of Education, but beyond that, Betsy DeVos has ties to a lot of millionaires and billionaires and corporations that did not benefit under President Obama because they were regulated for pillaging, destroying, and harming the lives of everyday Americans. Strata Education Network being one of these companies, right? Formerly known as the United Student Aid Fund Incorporated. Now there are others, there are private prisons, and I can go on and on, all these corporations. And what the Trump administration is going to do, while Neil Gorsuch is happening in the front, and while all this other stuff is happening, right, in the front of the camera, right, Neil Gorsuch, the Affordable Care Act, Trump meeting with CEOs, in the background, people like Betsy DeVos and Jeff Sessions and Wilbur Ross and what's going to be their new appointed labor secretary, Mr. Acosta. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to roll back regulations that benefited consumers and benefited working class Americans in order to benefit their friends, the rich and the wealthy. And this is a great example of it. This individual, Taylor Hansen, right, used to work for Betsy DeVos. He worked for her. He was part of the Beachhead team, which is the team that goes in as soon as the president's elected to help set up the administration. He was a senior advisor to the Secretary of Education, but resigned on Friday, one day after Betsy DeVos released the memorandum. Now, here's the question. Where do you think Mr. Hansen's going to go? He's probably going to go back to his father's Bill Hansen's beautiful estate and chill out and wait for the money to roll in because they're screwing over students. Now, what she rolled back was a Dear Colleagues letter. And what the Dear Colleagues letter said was basically, if you are behind in your student loans, right, your student loans have defaulted, a federal student loan program, and you're the debtor, and you say, listen, I'm really trying hard to pay it off. I just got my income tax return back, and I've cobbled up enough money to pay off this debt. Now, can you work with me? Can you help me? And what the Department of Education said was these debtors, these companies like Strata Education, would have to roll back the fees and the penalties if the person agreed to pay the debt within 60 days. Because most of the fees, now this is why this is important, right? Follow me on this story. Most of those fees and penalties, America, don't go back to the Department of Education. The Department of Education gets the principal. Or depending upon the situation, the loan could have been bought by a company like Strata. But the more fees and penalties, all the fees and penalties and the debt recouped goes to Strata. So Strata, with this policy change, could make up to $15 million more a year in profit because she withdrew this letter. Now think to yourself for a minute, and so I'm trying to be rational and say, so what's a good reason to roll back this type of regulation? So you would say, oh, well, maybe you roll it back because you want students to be more responsible. Maybe you roll it back because, it's harmful to universities. Maybe you roll it back because the regulations hurt working family. Like, I'm trying to think of all the rational reasons to roll back this law, and there aren't any. There are no reasons to roll this back besides the fact that her buddy, former employee Taylor Hansen, and her buddy Bill Hansen will benefit to the tune of $15 million, and other companies like them. That's the only reason why you roll this back, because you want to help corporations and hurt students. Follow the story, America. Follow the story.